the Steel City. Is everybody ready to go? Let's proclaim the greatest radio show.
Welcome, fans, to part 2 of our Mock Draft 2.0. I'm your host, Jim Sella, here with Jay Dash. Already cleared 1 through 10. Go check that out. Already did all 1 through 32 in our first mock draft from a few weeks ago, so you can go check that one out. Right now, we got 11 through 20.
Yes, and on the clock are the New Orleans Saints. They went 7-9 and finished third in the NFC South last season and were 31st in the league with 454 points allowed defensively. Although we know they can put up points as well.
The Saints have 2 picks in the first round because they traded Brandon Cooks to the New England Patriots. So they have this one at 11, another one at 32. Here at 11, I think they take the defensive end, Taco Carlton from Michigan. The Saints, originally I had them taking Malik Hooker, but I had them going to the Chargers a little bit earlier in this draft. Like you said, their defense was terrible last year. They need somebody who can come in. I like Tack McKinley actually better than Carlton, but McKinley had shoulder surgery, I believe it was. He's out around 4 to 6 months. So I think the Saints might go with Taco here, giving that he can get in and start learning that defense right away because they really need him to start playing right away.
And another terrible defense is the Cleveland Browns defense, allowing 452 points last season, although they only scored 264 offensively. That's a minus 188 difference there. And they have their second pick of the first round here at pick number 12. They got this from the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, this is the Browns' second pick in the first round. They still need a cornerback. They need defensive back help. I really wanted to put a quarterback here. I had Deshaun Watson here in our original mock, and I hate just agreeing with the NFL.com guys, the ESPN guys all the time. I'm not here to just copy and paste what they did into our mock draft, but almost everybody has them taking O.J. Howard, the tight end out of Alabama. So, I mean, I put him here. Maybe they know something I don't know. I know Howard is regarded as the best tight end in this draft. He's a guy that can come in and give whoever the quarterback is in Cleveland another playmaker to go along with Corey Coleman, Kenny Britt, Duke Johnson Jr., what's the other guy? Isaiah Crowell. I mean, they have some playmakers. They upgraded that offensive line. So if they bring Howard in offensively, all they're really missing is a quarterback.
Yeah, it'd be a little bit of a surprise to me if they did bring in O.J. Howard, considering they don't have that quarterback right now.
Yeah, I really thought that they would take Watson or Kaiser, the quarterback out of Notre Dame.
Next on the clock with the 13th pick overall are the Arizona Cardinals. They had a down season last year after a pretty big 2015 in a resurrection year for Carson Palmer. You never believed in Carson Palmer. I was never really a big Carson Palmer fan either, but they did have that down year last year, going 7-8-1, although they did still finish second place in the NFC West because that is not a great division outside of Seattle.
Eddie B called it last year too, said the Cardinals weren't going to have a good year.
Yes, I remember.
They definitely need some defensive help, inside linebacker, cornerback, pass rusher. They could use a quarterback for, some future years, maybe not this year with Carson Palmer. I think this is where Takaris McKinley goes, the defensive end out of UCLA. He's a guy here, like I said a few minutes ago, he had that shoulder surgery. He's out 4 to 6 months. Even at 6 months, the long end, that's September. Then they could ease him into the lineup, somebody who could continue to play more as the year goes on for the Cardinals. They don't need somebody per se day one, although they really did lose a lot on the defensive side of the ball. But their offense is good enough. A lot of people haven't taken a wide receiver here. I just don't see it. They still have Brown. They still have Fitzgerald. They have playmakers there. What was the other guy who stepped up last year?
I don't know. They got 2 Browns out there, and Larry Fitz is out there. They had Michael Floyd, obviously. He went to New England. I can't remember, man.
I think it was Jerron Brown. I forgot they had Dole Browns.
Dole Browns.
Doubling it up. But yeah, McKinley here, he offers that guy who can come in as the season goes on and make a lot of plays. I still don't think the Cardinals are going to be that good.
We'll have to see. I mean, it depends on Carson Palmer. He really has to bounce back. A lot of what happened last season was on him, in my opinion.
I think that it was a fluke the year before. I think his good years are flukes because he's garbage.
14th on the clock is the Philadelphia Eagles. They got this from the Minnesota Vikings. I believe this is the Sam Bradford pick, correct?
Believe that.
So great move by Philadelphia. 7-9 last season. Not a good season. Obviously last in the NFC East, but that was with a rookie quarterback. So he should make some improvements this season. Philadelphia should be a little bit improved at least, correct?
Yeah, they'll definitely be better than last year. They're looking to add some cornerback help, wide receiver, running back, build around Carson Wentz, like you said. I like the wide receiver Corey Davis out of Western Michigan here. He's a guy who can come in, play right away. He's a bigger guy at 6'3", 209 pounds. He'll be a force in the middle of the field. He knows how to use his size to kind of shield the defender. He doesn't have blazing speed down the field, but they can leave that to the outside guys. I think Davis would work well in the slot. Almost like a tight end, not necessarily as big, but just that guy you can kind of take 5 steps forward, plant his foot, and turn around. And Wentz has got a strong arm, and he can get the ball in there. And that's how the Patriots have made a living going down the field. So teams are trying to copy it, and I think it would be really good for Philly to look at a wide receiver here. Even if maybe Williams falls down to this spot, you never know.
15th on the clock is the Indianapolis Colts. They went 8-8 last season, still looking for that breakout from Andrew Luck and seeing him turn into one of those next elite quarterbacks.
Yeah, they've had some hard times protecting him. They have invested some early first and second round picks into the offensive line. Originally, I had them taking Ryan Ramczyk, the tackle out of Wisconsin here. I changed my mind. I have them taking Dalvin Cook, the running back from Florida. The Colts splurged a little bit on some free agent defenders, so maybe adding a playmaker with Luck will help. We've seen a lot of young quarterbacks have success with play-action pass early in their career. Cook can go along with Frank Gore, who actually had a good season last year, kind of be a 1-2 punch, offer a little bit of a running game, give some relief to those Colts defenders, those Colts wide receivers, especially Andrew Luck, help the defense out by controlling the ball more. We know they want to score a lot of points, but maybe just slow it down the tiniest bit to try to help out that defense.
Next on the clock are the Indianapolis Colts' former hometown, Baltimore, the Baltimore Ravens. They went 8-8 last season, finishing second in the AFC North, although they did have a pretty decent defense, allowing just 321 points last season.
The defense really has been the strength of this team. They re-signed some key defensive free agents. That Joe Flacco contract, it's strangling this Ravens football team. They really need him to play up to that level he did when they won the Super Bowl. Best way to do that for them is get back to play action pass and throwing the ball deep, because that's where Flacco is the most successful. The offensive tackle, Ryan Ramczyk out of Wisconsin, really offers them another solid offensive player on the offensive line. He'd fit well with Ronnie Stanley on the left. The right tackle, just the whole right side of that offensive line. James Hurst, especially at the right tackle spot, just not very good for the Ravens last year. Ramczyk is a guy who can play right away. I actually had him going to the Colts a pick earlier in our first mock draft, so I think it's a steal here at 16 as the best tackle in this draft.
In the pick 17 are the 2015 division winners of the NFC East, the Washington Redskins, who a lot of people believe could repeat, but I believe the Giants were going to win that division last season. The Dallas Cowboys are the team that really stepped up in the NFC East last year. The Redskins, do they have a chance to get back to the top of that division this season?
They could. They lost some good offensive players in Deshaun Jackson and Pierre Garçon, but they did add Terrell Pryor. They also have Josh Doxson, the first-round pick from a few years ago. But I think John Ross, the wide receiver out of Washington, he's the guy who set the combine record with a 4.22 40-yard dash, fastest to ever run the 40 at the combine. He's a guy that can come in, really give Kirk Cousins another weapon. This is kind of a luxury pick, and I've heard some durability issues might drop Ross down the draft board. But we know Dan Snyder is kind of like the late Al Davis. He gets enamored with certain parts of the football team. He loves people with speed. Ross is technically the fastest guy to ever play in the NFL, according to the 40-yard dash. So I think Ross is a guy that the Redskins would look to take here at 17.
The Tennessee Titans had pick number 5, and they have their second pick of the first round here at number 18. Like I mentioned before, they finished in second place in the AFC South at 9-7, tied with the Houston Texans, who did make it to the playoffs by winning that division.
We had him taking Mike Williams at number 5, the wide receiver, to help that offense. I think Hassan Reddick, the linebacker / defensive end out of Temple, is a guy who could come in and really excel in that Dick LeBeau defense. I know LeBeau's not technically the coordinator, but he's the senior defensive official or some BS title like that. Basically, he runs the defense from afar. Reddick is not Troy Polamalu. That's not what I'm saying. But he's a playmaker in that capacity, where you can move him all over the field. He can make plays from a lot of different positions, make some crazy plays that you wouldn't think a guy could make athletically. So he's definitely a really good fit here for the Titans at number 18.
Next on the clock is a team that I believe is on the rise in the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They finished in second place in the NFC South last season at 9-7, behind the NFC representative in the Super Bowl, the Atlanta Falcons, who shit the bed, obviously. But Tampa Bay, I think they already brought in some wide receiver help. Deshaun Jackson, maybe it was, for Jameis Winston. Him going into his third year, I think he can really take the next step, along with Mariota, the Tennessee Titans we just talked about. I think both those quarterbacks can take a step forward this season, and I think Tampa Bay could win this division.
Isn't it kind of weird that the Titans and Tampa Bay were in a position to take Winston and Mariota where they were a few years ago, and now look, they moved to about the middle of the pack, as opposed to the front of the pack. So this is really showing that these teams know what they're doing. They're moving up, which means they're getting better. Tampa Bay, I think if they take Jabril Peppers, the safety out of Michigan, everybody is enamored with this guy's talent. Like you said, the offense for Tampa Bay is pretty good. They added Deshaun Jackson. Let's get that defense to catch up. Start playing better. Put some pressure on the opposing team's quarterback. Get some turnovers. Give a short field to that offense. These are all the things you want to do for a young, up-and-coming offense. Peppers is a guy that could play linebacker positioning. He won't be a linebacker, but you could put him there at certain points in the game. You can use him in different pass coverages. He could be all over the field, just like Reddick. He's going to wreak havoc on whatever offense he's going against, and he's a perfect fit for what Tampa Bay wants to do.
And at pick number 20, we have the Denver Broncos, who finished at 9-7, yet they were in third place in the AFC West last year because of the Kansas City Chiefs, who are usually a good team, but the rise of the Oakland Raiders as well. They're still trying to figure things out post Peyton Manning.
Yeah, and this isn't a sexy pick here at 20 for Denver. They have Trevor Siemian and Paxton Lynch at quarterback, so they're probably not going to take a quarterback. It's going to be one of those guys. They struggled to run the football a little bit after C.J. Anderson got hurt last year. Right, at first they did well, but then they just kept getting worse at it as the year went on. They could use some inside help on that offensive line, and the guard Forrest Lamp from Western Kentucky would really provide that for him. He's regarded to be the best interior lineman in this draft, although there is some debate about that, like there always is. But Lamp's a big guy. He's a physical guy. Denver, with that defense, man, all they got to do is not suck on offense, and they can make it to the playoffs. And then all you got to do is make it, and anything can happen. We've seen 6 seeds win the Super Bowl before, and Denver's going to be a decent team. Oakland's going to be a good team, and Kansas City's probably going to be a good team. So if Denver wants to be able to win that division, they're going to have to protect those quarterbacks, and they're going to have to run the ball well, and Lamp is the guy to do that.
Where's Tim Tebow when you need him?
Yeah, put him in at running back. Too bad he's playing for the Mets.
Yeah, he's bashing home runs, too.
Just like Pedro Serrano. Except for he doesn't pray to Joe Boo.
Believe it. But that's it. We did picks 1 through 10 in our last segment. Check that out if you haven't already. We did picks 11 through 20 here. We're going to move on to 21 through 32 here. Not today, here in a couple days, correct?
Believe it. Fans, questions or comments, hit us up on Twitter at bet_the_spread. Hit me up on Twitter at betjimtowin. Go to facebook.com/betthespread to find all of our episodes. You could put your top 10, top 20, top 32, whatever draft picks you want in the comments. Go to YouTube, click subscribe, tell your friends, watch football, send us money, whatever you want to do, we're down.